Okay, so here we are today, and who's ready to get some truth game on? I know I am. And I feel very fortunate because with us today, Claudette Anderson, who is the creator of the Truth Method, lover of your soul, and warrior for your freedom. She's an intuitive, successful business owner, author, and investor who is passionate for everyone to remember their truth, their true power, purpose. And what does this mean? Well, imagine this, a world where fear and anxiety are a thing of the past, and you're living a loving, expansive, abundant, and powerful life. She will speak to your soul and call you to remember who you really are. Never less than or not worthy, more than capable of any of your heart's desires. So this is Claudette Anderson. Welcome, Claudette.
It is so good to be here. Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored. I just think the world of you and what you're doing in the world. So thank you.
Well, right back at you. And so if it's all right with you, Claudette, first off, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with us, right? I believe you do have an extremely powerful message. You've helped me really immensely in my life and learning how to really connect to my true self and disconnect and detach at the same time from some really powerful things that had a hold on me. So I just am thankful that you're here because I want to share a little bit of our story and how I came to know you. So why don't I start there if that's all right with you? And then I'm going to let you, we'll let it just kind of organically unfold.
There we go. Yes.
Okay. Let the truth take over. All right. So here, listen up. This is what happened for me. About, I don't know, maybe a year.
Was it a year ago?
More than a year.
I don't know.
It's been a year, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
Close to it, right? Give or take.
Right.
So back in the spring, early spring, we'll say that, of 2020, I was going through a big change in my life.
Yes.
And I had been doing so much work and it was all good, right? All good stuff. But there was something in me where there was an event that transpired. I think one specific one, you have that one thing that hits you and you didn't realize there's something still in you that just takes you to your knees a little bit. And I remember that night, literally going to my knees and crying and praying to God and saying, I just want inner peace, God. I just want to live in truth. Please give that to me. Show me the way. And the next morning, so I had this little moment. I won't go into all the details, but that's basically the gist of it.
Yeah.
Went to bed that night, woke up the next morning, my phone rang. It was a girlfriend of mine. And she was telling me how she had met this cool lady in Tennessee. And she was the truth facilitator. And I was like, hold up a minute. What do you mean a truth? What is a truth facilitator? I was like, you have to give me your number. You have to connect me, please, if you will. And so she did. She connected the two of us. And then you and I started working together. And it's been a really beautiful experience having you facilitate the process along with me of how to really access my own inner truth, which then has led to my ultimate amazing inner peace. So, and what was so interesting, Claudette, so I don't know if you do this as well, but I always select a word for the year, each year. And I forget what 2018 was. I could go back and find it, but I know in 19, my word, it was the word that I intentionally wanted to live by. So 2019 was surrender, right?
Yes.
And then 2020, I came up with the word, it just came to me, was truth.
I love it.
Isn't that crazy? And in 2020, who did I meet? I met you. So, and you've been a beautiful being in my life, and I want to thank you. So, for those listening, let's tell them a little bit. What is it you do? What is the truth? What does that look like? How do you find it? How do you live it? All the good stuff.
Well, I think we all have the knock you on your knees moment, right? Like we all have something that happens to us. My moments looked kind of like a Saturday Night Live skit where I'm just crying, those just crying and I can't take this anymore. And, I had the pain. I'm not making fun of the pain that I was in, but that's what it looked like. And I remember my former husband at the time, he was like, what can I do for you? I'm like, there's nothing you can do. You know, I knew there was nothing that anyone could do for me. I had been searching outside of myself and it just didn't work. It came up short every time. I had searched for, you know, help with my relationships or help with other things. And I always got disappointed, you know, I always got
Right.
disappointed by people. And I finally just had that, if there is really a higher power, right? If there's really this creator of everything, then I need you. And you know, at the time for me, I even had thoughts of, I don't want to go on living. You know, I'm not saying I was suicidal or anything. Many people have experienced that, but I just didn't want to go on. And I think we can all relate to that. There are times and moments we've gone through where we just don't, we're done. You know, we just don't have the energy to keep going, right?
Right. Well, yeah, I think that's where I was. It wasn't that I didn't want to go on living. I didn't want to go on living with the way things were in my life. I
Right.
wanted different.
Right.
And I think there's many pieces to the puzzle that help to create the difference, right?
Right.
And you
Right.
were part of the piece of the puzzle for me. So yeah.
Yeah, well, and you know, the cool thing about it is there's hope, but we don't put our hope in something that's not solid, right? Hoping in something that's just a wish, you know, just hoping it happens. That's not what hope is. Hope is something very solid. So I had gone through 5 years prior to when I started doing truth. I actually gotten healed from stage 4 cancer. I had stage 4 cervical cancer,
Wow.
and the doctor wanted to remove my cervix, and I knew I was supposed to have a girl. I had had a dream. I'm intuitive. We all are, actually. Just, you know, we all have these gifts. We just have limitations that block them. But so you know, I knew it. I knew I was going to have a girl. I think many women know I'm going to have 2 kids. I'm going to have 1 kid. I'm going to have 3 kids, whatever that is. And I was like, no, I can't have my cervix removed. Like, and I said, if there's really a power higher than me, I'll be healed. And that was the first time I sought truth. And my healing took place riding on a bike at campus at college. I would go in between classes and go, what do I believe that allows the cancer? And the reason I asked it that way is I was like, what do I do first? I had no clue of how to actually be healed. Right? Like, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to be healed. Okay, what do I do now? And I'm
Right.
looking up at the sky, like, okay, what's the instructions? Where's the manual for healing? You know? And it came to me that I create my whole world, that I'm responsible for everything I experience. I was like, no, I'm not. I didn't ask for cancer. What, you know, so I'm having this inward conversation as if it was with someone else, but it was with what I now call the truth within me, right? We all have this intuition, this gut feeling, this guidance. It has shown up our whole lives. When we follow it, we're really happy we did. And when we don't, we're like, that sucks, right? I mean, it just sucks. And so I followed that guidance, and that guidance led me to questioning, what do I believe that allowed the cancer to be in my life? At first, I didn't even like that question because I thought that things had power outside of me,
Mm.
you know, and that's a big distinction. So we get to the point that we don't want to go on because we don't like the way it is, but we think we don't have the power, right, to shift it.
Right.
Right? And we actually do, but we need just a little bit of help. So, you know, have you ever heard the saying, the truth sets you free? Have
Yes.
you heard that?
Yes. And the truth shall
So,
set you
what
free.
does that saying mean to you? What does that mean to you, Jamie?
The truth shall set you free to me means, wow, just being very authentic, transparent, speaking your heart. And when you do that, then peace comes.
Yes,
Living in it, like really living it out, right?
right. So when we finally get so tired of the part of us that is really screwing up everything. Like it's
With
the part of
the controlling person,
yeah,
right? Because I've been that person.
yeah, she is the impossible woman, or the impossible man, or the perfect woman or perfect man. When we finally get tired, and I call her other names, I'll just restrain. When you get
Okay.
tired of that person, I finally got tired of the woman that felt inadequate around other people, felt like I wasn't enough, felt like I had a belief that I wasn't worthy of anything good. Anything good. Can you imagine how all-encompassing that is? So everything good that comes into my life, I was rejecting it at a subconscious level because I wasn't worthy of anything good. So I would always undermine it.
So like self-sabotage, basically.
That's called sabotage, and we'll procrastinate something because we don't think we're going to do a good job. But see, here's the kicker on this. We're all on this beautiful divine journey, and we're all here to evolve in our soul and grow. And part of the plan is to make a mistake, learn, course correct, and grow.
Okay, repeat that, please. Make a mistake.
Course correct, and grow.
Ah, I love
That's it.
it. Yeah.
It's so simple. And we condemn ourselves for the mistakes, but it's part of the plan to make a mistake, course correct, and grow. But we have this perfect woman or man talking to us going, you're so dumb, you didn't do that right, why can't, you're going to fail, all this. Guess what? Those thoughts come from beliefs we have in our subconscious. And until we get the truth about those, they are going to bug the crap out of us. They will undermine everything.
Okay, so getting the truth on those requires, I know, but share with us more, please.
Yes, it's simple, but yet we make it a little harder because the perfect woman or man, which I actually call the ego, the lower mind, or we call it Chi-Chi, the Chihuahua.
Right.
Because I think it's just funny to have a vision of a Chihuahua running around in your mind like yapping.
Yeah.
And I think Chihuahuas are cute. So I am not against Chihuahuas, but I rescued one out of a 6-lane highway with my brother. And that poor little thing was so nervous and scared. And we kept her for 7 years. Her name was Tiny. But oh my goodness, at first, when we first got her, she was yappy and she was scared. We had to give her love to move her out of that because she had been traumatized. I understand. But if you've ever been around a yappy little nippy Chihuahua, you're like, will you stop already? There's nothing to bark at. Like it would just go on and on. And so that's kind of what our mind is like.
That's what the ego is. It's constantly yapping at you, right?
The mind just yaps because what happens is we have certain beliefs, and you can look at it this way. When a belief has been triggered, it's like having a file open on your computer. And as long as that file is open, you will see it. That is just like your mind will repeat it as long as it's open. Does that make sense?
Completely makes sense. So we have to learn to close that.
Well, what if so you can do that. So you could go, how there's some teachings out there, and I think every teaching that's trying to help somebody, that's a good thing, right?
Right, of course.
So there's some teachings that go, just breathe into it, live with it, and the energy passes. And so like 2 or 3 days later, you're kind of over it and you're like, I'm okay now, until something else triggers the file to open again.
Right. So we have to really go in and not just close it, but do away with it.
We delete it and override it with truth.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And so that guidance, that eternal truth, is a guidance that is our birthright, resides in all of us. It is, and people go, will this work on me? I'm like, if you've ever had intuition, yes. Or a gut feeling. There's even scientific studies that show there is an intelligence within our gut, smarter than our brain, that seems to have all this ancient knowledge. I'm like, no kidding.
Well, your gut is your second brain, right? I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's where the old thing, gut instincts, right, comes from.
It's socially acceptable.
It literally hits you there physically, doesn't it? Like when you know something, it's like, oh, yeah,
and it's a knowing that drops in you. So the practice of getting the truth is having access to that whenever you need it. Think about that. What if you could connect to the eternal truth within you, and you could have access to any information, anything you need, comfort, peace, truth about what's happening in front of you. So the practice of connecting to the truth is like turning inward. It's a form, some people call it a form of prayer. Some people call it meditation. I call it visualization or prayer.
Right.
And it's a little less than meditation, right? It's, or no, not less than, but different,
Right.
correct that. But visualization is very active, and it's almost like an action of bringing something from within us to without, right? And we can do it in many different ways. So let's say, I'm going to give a quick example. Let's
Okay.
say somebody wants to do something and they just don't do it because they think they're not going to do it well. They want to do it though. That keeps coming up, like they want to do it. Like you might have a business you want to build. You might have a dream you want to do. And you're just like, I know I need to get that dream done. I need to do it, but you're procrastinating. If we get to the root belief behind the procrastination or the hesitation, and we remove that with the truth, then what happens is we can move forward, because you can't, you can't grow if you don't go. There's got to be action with it too, but don't try to force it, because get to the point where you feel totally comfortable. So here's a quick way that you can begin to explore this.
Okay.
So if you want to do something, you can actually close your eyes, and in your mind, you can visualize actually doing it and succeeding, and go into the feeling of what that would be like. And then begin to just in your mind go, I ask for the truth about this. That's it. Claudette, that's so simple. Do it 3 times a day, up to 15 minutes a day, until it feels real, and see what happens in your life.
Okay. So would you mind repeating the steps? So for those listening, it kind of soaks in.
Okay. So I'm just asking you to close your eyes, get in a really comfortable place, take a deep breath. Visualize the end result of what you want to happen. Like if you are creating a play, what would be the end act, the end thing before the play's done that shows you everything is good and wrapped up? Like you have done that thing you want to do.
Right.
Once you can imagine it, and if you go, I don't imagine anymore, pretend you're 3, 4, 5 years old. You used to imagine, reactivate that, and then go into that, and then go into the feeling of what it would be like to have that. You're going to have Chi-Chi or the ego or, that perfect woman or man going, well, how's this going to happen? There's so much work. How's this going to happen? Shut them up.
And how do you shut them up? Because, right?
Visualize, if it's a perfect man or woman you see, put tape over their mouth. Use your imagination. If it's Chi-Chi the Chihuahua, which I think is freaking funny, because it's a Chihuahua with rabies, we can fix the Chihuahua. We can fix the Chihuahua, and we can put a little bow in the Chihuahua's hair, or we can make it cute later on, but it needs some help first. Okay. So visualize that, then put Chi-Chi in the corner and silence. And just using your imagination will help you get a grip on that. Right. And if you're fearful, just command fear to step out, visualize it how you would in any type of way. I've had people just use your imagination. Let's have some fun with this, and freeze it. And then go back into the feeling that you have done what you desire to do. And then you have that feeling, you can see it. And at first you're not going to be able to do it, right? But you will if you persist in it. Because we have to practice with our imagination a little bit. And if you really want this thing you're going after, this is the first step. And then you can say, I ask for the eternal truth about this. This is not my truth. This is not your truth. This is an eternal truth that goes by spiritual law. And it is always right. So all you have to do is go, what's the truth about this? And then take a deep breath. Don't worry about the how. Just go, I ask for the truth about this. And then if you're taking a shower, shaving your legs or whatever, or you're, watering the yard, or you're jogging, working out, and something drops into you to do it. Because now you're getting the guidance. And see, the guidance helps you to get in the go position. But the guidance will come to you if you ask. Ask and it is given. That is spiritual law, right? If you doubt, move doubt to the corner and shut that doubt up. Okay? So just use your imagination. That's all you have to do. And then ask for the eternal truth to come in. Obviously, you and I met where you wanted to really master this, right? And learn it.
Yes. Like
Yes.
I really desired inner peace. And I recognized that part of that. And then when I spoke to you, it just made complete sense to me. Like it spoke to me. We were speaking the same language.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, that's going to require some getting real, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I was okay with that. And so when you say get the truth about something, for me, now I'm sure it looks different for every person, right? Maybe not. What I realized was that required me looking at the hard stuff, the things that the ego is telling you, right? That you were talking about, the little chihuahua, and like you're freezing it out, but recognizing why it was there in the first place.
That's where you get the truth. Yes, because it's there because we believe something. See, there's all this stuff going on. We believe all this BS, right? We believe all these things about ourselves or other people, and it's just BS. And anytime we believe something that's not true, that's when suffering is created within us.
Right. So for me, with my experience with you, and I would love to share this if that's okay with you.
Oh yeah,
those of you, and I want to share this with those of you listening. This is pretty vulnerable to admit, but I'll admit it because that's just kind of where I am today. Okay. So I'll never forget when you and I were working on, you were helping facilitate the process of me really going in and seeking the truth within myself. One of the reasons I recognized I wasn't able to fully let go of some things is because I had a huge fear of joy, of experience and joy. You're probably like, what? Why would you be scared of having a good time or like really having joy within you? Well, I was fearful it would be stripped away from me if I actually experienced it at its full capacity. And that I remember just like, I literally talk about the crying. Like I cried. I was like, wow, like I did not, I'm sure I knew at some level, but it was such in my subconscious. But once we really started doing I was doing the visual, cannot say the word, visualizations, and you were walking me through that. It was such an aha moment. And it allowed me to really shift and say, but I do want joy. I do. Like, so I'm going to now allow myself to fully experience joy. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to quit with the self-sabotaging and quit with the stopping, right? It's like you're in a good movie and you have to get up and walk out right before like the heightened moment of where, they go and live happily ever after.
Well, I heard, there's a common belief. I had it. You apparently had it. I remember the moment you got that aha. It was incredible. And we were on a call together. And but who doesn't think, oh, it's good right now, but that won't last forever.
Yeah, when's the other shoe gonna drop? Right.
And what we don't understand until we do. And I think it's the best gift we could give ourselves.
Right.
Is to know that everything we're experiencing has come from us. Now, some people may not be happy with that. I don't want to take responsibility for this that happened to me. I want to blame this other person.
Because that's easier, right?
Yeah,
you don't have to look inside.
Yeah. And as long as you don't, you are subject to what you perceive to be outside forces and you feel helpless. So for me, when I had cancer and realized I believed something that allowed it, because there's many studies that show, your beliefs are related to your health, like your beliefs and what you believe. If there's trauma there, there's a doctor that did studies in Germany for certain trauma patients, and there's lesions formed on the brain and they have cancer in certain areas based on trauma. Like all these studies have been done. And so science is catching up with what the spirit has known for thousands of years, right?
So what you're saying is your emotional state is definitely tied to your physical health.
Everything in your body.
I have lived it. I believe it.
Yes.
I've experienced it. Yes.
Yeah. And you don't even have to believe what I'm saying. I tell everyone, don't believe what I'm saying. I'm not the guru. Test it. Okay. Like the cool thing about this is you can actually go, okay, what if I did believe everything comes from me? Now I'm going to start testing that to see if it's true and start paying attention to what I think and see if that happens. Because haven't you ever Like, I look at it this way. Do you want to be subject to all these outside forces, or do you actually want to take your power back and understand that you can change it? What do you want? I would rather be the one that's responsible so I can call BS on myself and I can do something about it versus, having all this other stuff happen to me and thinking it's all happening to me. Right. So I had to make that shift in my life. Can you relate?
I can totally relate. I believe I lived a large portion of my life allowing outside external sources to control me, number one, even though was I in overdrive trying to control it. Okay. And then also and I spoke about this on a recent recording, like the outside validation I was looking for, the acceptance through outside sources, through people, through experiences, when all along, my dear, the magic and the power was within me, right?
Right. And so if we're looking outside, we're giving our power away. We wonder why we're sad, suffering, tired. We wonder why all these things, why do bad things always happen to me? Isn't it better to kind of take the reins back and reclaim your power and start to go, okay, I'm turning inward. And, the cool thing about this is what seems so scary to dive into. A lot of people go, we'll leave the skeletons in the closet, right? We're going to just let that stuff stay over there. We don't have to readdress. I don't want to relive that. The thing about getting the truth is you don't have to suffer again. You just kind of get a glimpse of it. The eternal truth rises. You might cry a little. Like we don't go into deep, and at that point, you can get truth on it. And in the thing that has haunted you, like bugged you, whatever it is, can be removed. And so that's the power of the eternal truth within you. And that is your birthright. And you can actually learn how to do it yourself. Jamie, you do it yourself all the time. Like we, haven't even been on a call in months.
No, right. Yeah, it was like maybe we're in July now. It was probably November, December, somewhere around there.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah. And so, but I chose to do many personal sessions with you. Yes. I prefer one-on-one. I also did some group sessions that you offer. Yes. And that was very helpful just to watch other people going through the experience too. And you can always learn in that arena. However, what I recognize, like anything, it required consistency. And now that I had the awareness and I was awakened to it, I would immediately go, okay, what is my truth? I just started. And the more I did it, the more natural it became. And I remember speaking to you and you saying, well, it could take you a couple months maybe at first to get truth on something.
It could take you a couple months. It could take you, some people have tried for 3 months, 6 months, right, and it hits them and they're like, I'm free.
Yes.
Like, and I've got some people that have gone 1 and 2 years and they have just gone so deep into it. They're now facilitating it. Like we've just graduated a group of facilitators.
Right.
Which is so exciting. The truth is something I started in really 1994, 95, but in 2000 really, really started it. Like I got healed from cancer and I thought that was great. And then I left the truth alone for 5 years. I was like, going on my life. And then
thanks, I'm out of here now. Back to life.
Appreciate it. But I didn't have the awareness to actually turn it into a way of being. And so in 2000, I began to, I was miserable. I had so many insecurities. I was pulling at everybody in my relationships because I needed that attention and that affirmation because I felt like a piece of crap. And so we try to overcome that. I would get into a group of people to speak or do whatever, and I would be like, they're not going to like me. I have fear, reject. I just had all this monkey mess going on. And finally, I was so miserable. I was like, I'm ready. And I was led.
I surrender.
I finally just went, whatever, okay. And I realized surrender is you actually stepping into your true power. What you're surrendering, what you're giving up is the false BS. It's that chi running around and it feels like you're going to die for a minute. But if you just get brave enough to move past that, you realize you're rising in the real power. And this is the power that the universe backs you up with.
Well, and I could not agree with you more. Unknowingly, unbeknownst to me, that was my word in 19, surrender. The next year I chose truth. And then the more I've learned, so that shows me right there. And I'm not some like whack,
Everybody's like woo woo
I'm
whack.
just Jamie, right? Like I know I'm beautifully and wonderfully made. I have special gifts. However, that was my gut instinct navigating it for me.
Yes.
For
Yes.
me, it's God, right? Is my creator. And that was him leading me down the path, showing me
Yes.
that go take your power back, baby. Go live in your truth.
See, I tell people I interchangeably, this is not a religious conversation.
Right.
This is more about there is one power that science has recognized as light in the center of, a proton or molecule, atom, whatever. They recognize it as light. They find light in everything. And they're like, there seems to be this intelligence, and so to me, there's only one power.
Right.
There's only really one eternal truth. There's levels of truth in the human realm, but in all, there's only one. And
that can be whatever you choose to make it. Or not.
See, it has to go with, here's the thing. A lot of people say, Claudette, define truth. So I'm going to do it. Right.
Okay.
Because I really want to clarify it. And I am writing a book and I am doing the truth conference. Right. And at the truth conference, we're going to go into 30 minutes of defining the truth, but I'm going to give you a really quick thing.
Okay.
So defining the truth, there are so many levels of truth. Some people go, I'm following my Tao, which is my truth. But the eternal truth is above that. And it actually operates on spiritual law. And it's always in alignment. It's always steady. It's never changing. And it is the truth. When they say the truth shall set you free, that is what goes into you, into your being at a soul level. It's already there. It is the intuition, the gut feeling. Notice how it's always right. The only time our intuition would seem to be wrong is if that chi-chi interferes with it. Like we get a knowing and then we think it to death, right?
And how many times have you heard somebody say, I knew it in my gut, but then my brain took over and I decided to do this instead. Yes. But I knew it. I knew I shouldn't have done that, or I knew I should have done this. Right.
I used to do it all the time. And see, the problem with that is your brain is only a computer system. It's like it's proven scientifically our brain's a computer. And so all it does is report to you, your lower brain. I say lower brain, we have that higher brain, report to you what is in your soul. That's it. And it will tell you not to do it. It will mess up the intuition. Then it will tell you you should have done it. Like this, that's the problem. So it's, Chi-Chi's
beat you up and then let's beat you up again.
No, right? Chi-Chi's gonna get you coming and going, right? Yeah. That's why you need to train that puppy and send it to the corner, because that you're not gonna get anywhere with that. If Chi-Chi could fix you, if your brain could fix you, you would be at total peace.
So will Chi-Chi always be there?
Yeah, I think so. I think Chi-Chi needs to be trained. And to me, the hierarchy is we have creation, the truth, God. I don't care if you got God, source, creation, truth. There's only one. And then we came from, that place, that which we came from. And then we have our spirit, and then we have our soul, and they are distinct. The soul is a portion of the spirit. This is an older teaching. About 700 years ago, they combined spirit and soul. Mm-hmm. But before that, they were separate. You have your soul, which actually is the part of you that can get hurt, get wounded, have the beliefs that aren't true, all of that. Okay. That's the part of us that needs healing and truth. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's also the part of us that drives the show, because whatever we believe affects our subconscious, and it is moved out into our reality. So now we're getting
that's how we move in life, then, is what we really believe about ourselves.
Everything about how our bodies look, what our relationships are, everything is a mirror and a representation of what we believe. And this is the moment where you have to really just get real with yourself. Yeah. But the cool thing about it is I've looked around and said, this kind of sucks. And I just laugh now if I create something that is just silly. I just go, wow, look at my imagination and what I created in my life. So, but it's undesirable. So now I'll uncreate it and I'll create the thing I desire. And I no longer beat myself up because I'm like, it's part of the divine plan. I'm learning, right? Course correct. I make a mistake. I course correct. I grow. It's okay. And my soul is evolving. And if I really trust the divine plan, that's the one thing that is outside of my control. It's already done. It will start and it will finish. I just have to point towards the truth. Like that is the biggest thing. I just have to do that. And that's where we can start to step into a higher level of peace than we ever thought. We're not tossed to and fro like a ship on the ocean when things go down. We don't get in the energy of the spin of emotion and the problems. We actually turn to truth for everything. And it's just, I can just tell you, my life is so much better than it used to be. I used to be the drama mama. No, not doing that.
So did I. Yeah. Well, I grew up in a family of women. So, drama, it just came with the territory until it didn't. And so earlier, before we started this recording, you and I, you were teaching me how there's certain people in my life that I would like for the dynamics of that to shift. So you taught me I can kind of take that into my own power, right? I mean, I can't physically make them do anything, but I can speak words, basically pray over it, right? For me, and speak goodness into it and what I really would like to see. And that was really interesting for me as we went through that process, because at the end you said, and what is your truth? What is the truth saying to you now? And I said, I just feel a much deeper level of inner peace than I even did before. I didn't even know that was possible. So it can just keep getting better and better and better.
Oh, there's no end to your path of truth. Like I said, I have the people that, I've coached for 20 years, but since I started doing group programs, right? I have people that I think I've been doing group programs for a year and a half at this point.
Okay.
2020 was my year to write everything that I had studied for 26 years. And so and the cool thing about it is they said, there's no limit on this. It's not like I learn and then I get capped off, because it's the eternal truth within you, which is ever expanding. And so there's new levels of awareness, new levels of peace, new levels of power, new levels of creation. Like, it's so freaking cool. But we have to start within ourselves first. And what you just mentioned is like revising a situation. So the premise behind that is, if I actually do create my world, like based on what I believe, everyone is actually a gift to me.
Oh, yes.
To mirror back to me to show me the BS I got going on inside of me. So if I've got somebody at the store that treats me badly, I actually bless them with a thank you. And then I go back to truth and go, what do I believe that even allowed her? Because if I'm going to stand in my power, I allow everything that comes into my life. Done. End of story. And I will own that and tell me that's not powerful.
Yeah. Okay.
So if I begin to get truth on that, the BS can go out the door and down the road. Right? So
yes,
I look at everyone as a mirror showing me exactly where I'm at. I thank them for it. If it's undesirable and I'm not, it's some BS, I'm like, thank you. I didn't know I had it. And then I get truth. And I have seen people shift immediately in front of me as I am getting truth. The proof is in the pudding. Like I said, don't believe me, test it. And, take it to the next step. If you want to learn how to do it, we can share with you how to do that, but test it, right? And just see, because it's not just the person in the Starbucks line having a bad day, right? Maybe it's something I'm reflecting. See, we're all compelled to fulfill each other's creations. That's the gift we give each other. Have you ever been around somebody and you just act, you're like, I normally wouldn't act like that, but I did. I don't even know why I acted like that. Maybe they compelled you to act like that. Right?
Okay. So can you tell me a little more about that? Like an example.
I had a lady that I love her to death. We have become very good friends. But there was a part of me when I was telling her about truth, I almost became forceful with it. I almost shoved it up her proverbial butt, right?
Right.
Nobody wants the truth shoved up their butt. They're gonna be like, Claudette, what are you doing? Back off, woman. And so I was like, oh my God, I was so overbearing. And I had another lady with me that has studied truth she's a facilitator now. And she goes, I've never seen you act that way.
You
I
just
go,
got more aggressive with it,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, I was just more forceful and just not take, like, I was just like, no, and this is, and it was a little on, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like I was coming down going, you need the truth, it
Right.
wasn't like that, but it was just, I was a little more forceful and aggressive, and I know it'll set her free. But then I backed off and I looked at her and I went, this is interesting. And the truth began to show me. I asked the lady, I said, do you have a belief that people try to force you into things? And she did. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because I was asking for truth as to why I'm even doing it. Because for me, I share with you what I do. You can walk away from it. You can come towards it. If your soul is calling you to it, come on. If it's
Right.
not, blessings, and that's okay too. So I
Right.
was like, why am I, kind of mentioning
That was
it?
out of character for you to be to
Right. It was
kind of
out.
force it in that way. Right.
Right. And so she was like, yeah, everybody always tries to make me do stuff. And I was like, well, I just was fulfilling that. And then I began to explain to her how that works. And she goes, oh my God, it shows up in everywhere in my life. We got truth on that and it went away. I never felt compelled again. Like, so, that's interesting. So you can start, when you start to look behind the reason why things are the way they are, you start
Right.
to like question it. And, you start to kind of see if you, if you do, and I know we're running out of time, but if you actually are trying to do something and it fails and you go, I knew it would. Well, then it's time to look at yourself and ask what made you assume it would, because there is a law of assumption that whatever you assume will be true. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're assuming it's not going to work energetically, it will not work. So see, we can't lie about these things because that law of assumption is going to play out all day long. It's our job to get to assuming a good thing. If you're going to,
Yes.
if we're using this power within us anyway for good or bad, let's use it for good.
And
And
that is exactly what you and I did today.
yes,
Just that. And
yes.
I loved it when you asked me, and what is it speaking to you now? How do you feel now? And I said, I feel a much deeper level of inner peace. So for those of you listening, if a deeper level, or maybe just the beginning level of inner peace, whatever that looks like for you, is something you desire, I invite you to connect with Claudette Anderson. She is really an amazing. One of the great things I loved about you, Claudette, is I'll never forget the first time we spoke. You said to me, I said, so are you going to help me? Like, what can you do for me? And you said, I do nothing for you. You do it for you. I just help guide you and facilitate the process. And for me, that was amazing because for so much of my life anyway,
Mhm.
I think I did play a victim role in a lot of ways. And that empowered me to know that this was up to me.
Yes.
And have a really great mentor and teacher right there alongside me to help me in learning to to live in my truth
You see,
in a much more profound way.
I'm just your sister who
Right.
kind of started this sooner. And I'm like, hey, girl, let's go this way.
Yeah. Let me show you the way.
Let me just show you, because I tell people if you are relying on me, you're kind of screwed. I mean, sorry, don't mean to disappoint you. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to serve. My heart's pure. I might make a mistake. And then
Yeah.
I'm going to ask for forgiveness and mercy, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just is what it is. So let's not put anyone on a pedestal. And let's turn inward and understand the divine plan is in you. The power, I call it the God power. It
Uh-huh.
is in you, in the eternal truth. And you don't have to don't hear the word God and run away. Oh
Right.
my gosh, you're going to run away from your freedom if you do. Let's drop all these preconceived ideas and let's just open up to that which is in us, the divine eternal truth, and let's allow it to begin to set us free. And there's a law of truth that when you turn to it, it begins to show up.
Isn't that is the truth.
That is the truth,
That is the truth.
right?
And so if someone wants to connect with you, Claudette, how would they do that?
They can go to www.ClaudetteAnderson.com. I also have a Facebook group. It's a private group. It's called The Truth Method. I have a Truth Method page too that I haven't done that much with. We're actually going to launch product on it to help people remember the truth, turn to the truth, always remember to turn within. That's coming soon, but even if you hit that page, it'll direct you to the group. There's a link for that. And I would invite you into the group. I do have a conference coming up in the Raleigh-Durham area, October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So we're going to have a posting of that on my website very shortly. We're going to be opening that up. And, I have various programs and things. So just go to ClaudetteAnderson.com and you'll be able to see everything that I'm currently offering. And you know what? If you want to join the Truth Tribe, that's what I call it. We would love to have you with us. And I mean, Jami is one of our longtime sisters, a year and a half. I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing. And I don't see you moved by much at all. Like I've just seen the transfer. You are in such a deep level of peace and living it.
yes. And even when people do show up around me and things aren't as I would like for them to be in that exact moment, it doesn't stir me. I just get truth on it.
Yeah.
And move forward.
So truth is kind of
go.
like that partner that never leaves.
Right.
And knows everything.
It's your BFF.
Yeah, it's your BFF. And I tell people we're a trust fund baby of truth. Like, because if we really look to truth for everything, anything can be provided. There's nothing withheld from us.
Right.
And we're never alone.
Right.
So if we feel alone, that's an illusion. I used to feel alone. So it's amazing. So it's the practice of bringing the awareness of truth in and then going through truth first before making a decision. It's just guidance. It's amazing.
So. Yeah. And so I know we have to close things up here.
Yes.
Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
If someone's listening though, right in this moment, may I ask you just one more quick question?
Yes.
If someone's listening right here in this moment and they're going, well, that just sounds crazy, what would you say to them?
I would ask them, number one, well, if what you're currently doing is working, great.
And let us say amen.
And that's it. Number two, but if you're curious, you can begin to test this within yourself. See, there's nothing I share that you can't test and experientially discover within your soul. See, this is what our soul is hungry for. We kind of feel like there's more, there's that hole, there's that emptiness, there's whatever. This is what fills it. It's like coming home. And you know what? It is what
confidence, everything within you. Yes.
Yeah. No, it is what it is, whether you believe it or not. It's still true. Right?
Right.
So be curious and test it, because there was a time I would have doubted it. That's fine.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah.
And then once you experience it and you come to know it, man, it is peaceful and it is freedom. And it is. So thank you again, Claudette. Thank you for sitting with us. Thank you for sharing today. And if you're interested in going a little deeper and finding the truth within you, please go to ClaudetteAnderson.com and enjoy.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you. And to all of you, thanks for taking time out of your day and much love to you.
Yes, we love you.